Final Fantasy has been a franchise since the 90s, and I've only played Final Fantasy 13 for the PS3. There was another Square Enix title that I have played, and it's a little game called Kingdom Hearts. I remember my first time at Olympus Coliseum grinding my way through and running into this guy. That was my first experience seeing Cloud, and at that time I had no idea where he came from. In my mind, he was just another character. Then the PS3 came out and I got my hands on Final Fantasy 13. See, growing up, my first JRPG being Kingdom Hearts, I was never really a fan of turn-based combat, so I never tried out any of the other Final Fantasy games. But 13 was different. It had an active time battle mechanic, so it was kind of best of both worlds, still action like RPG, but slowed down to kind of pretend to be like turn-based. Now, fast forward to 2020 with the release of Final Fantasy VII Remake, where they take the story of the original Final Fantasy VII and retell it with a whole new combat system, and I didn't play it. But the year is 2026, and as I was watching the Summer Game Fest, Final Fantasy VII Revelations was announced, and I suddenly remembered, oh yeah, Final Fantasy VII Remake is a thing, so I decided it was finally time to check it out. Story is a very important aspect of a game. For me, a game's story and gameplay have to be as good as each other. I really enjoyed 13's story, even though it may be confusing, but hey, I'm a Kingdom Hearts fan, so confusing doesn't bother me at all. Luckily in 7, it seems pretty straightforward so far. I have not consumed any other media of 7's lore, meaning no Crisis Core, none of the movies or sequels. We started with our main group here, which is called Avalanche, which at first consists of Barrett, Jesse, Biggs, Wedge, and Tifa. As Cloud says he's not contracted with them, only working for the money, but I think he's still a part of it because he is helping them. Anyways, Avalanche here want to blow up these Mako reactors in order to stop this company called Shinra from, in Barrett's words,
"This pump's sole purpose is to drain the planet dry. While you sleep, while you eat, while you shit, it's here sucking up Mako. It doesn't rest and it doesn't care. You do realize what Mako is, don't you?"
As I understood it, the planet they live on used to be greener and fuller of life, where these race of people called ancients used to live, who were the speakers of the planet. And the planet is full of something called Mako, which was kind of like the planet's lifeblood. And it's also what these things are made of, which are called materia, which in the game gives you access to abilities like Cure and HP up. But fast forward a bit, and now the planet's life force is being sucked up and used by this corporate company called Shinra, who are using it for their own needs, but also the people of Midgard, to, you know, give off electricity and stuff. Honestly, I'm not too sure why Shinra are the quote-unquote bad guys. Like, I understand they might have a monopoly, but they weren't doing anything wrong besides giving the people of Midgard light and electricity. It's not until after we blow up a couple reactors and dig deeper into Shinra that we learn they were experimenting on people and trying to find something called the Promised Land, which no one knows if it's real or not. Anyways, as we are going along our journey, we do meet Aerith, who we later learn is an orphan and that she is an ancient along with her birth mother who died, and that they were being kept almost like prisoners in Shinra's custody. Aerith ends up back in Shinra's custody after saving Barrett's daughter and going willingly because apparently they can't find the Promised Land unless they have an ancient that willingly helps them. But then we learn that one of the scientists wants to have Aerith breed with someone so that her bloodline can live. Which, can I say, is just so fucked up to even come up with that idea? Anyways, as we break her out, we run into Sephiroth, who has been giving Cloud like bad headaches all game. Yeah, honestly, every time we see Sephiroth, it's usually a lot of fire and catastrophe, but it never seemed like he was behind Shinra's doing or anything. He kinda just shows up and we have the final battle of the game against him. But I'm not sure what makes him the bad guy. I think he was trying to destroy the world or bring destruction upon the world. There's that one cutscene with a giant meteor, and I know from Kingdom Hearts that casting meteors was like one of his abilities, but once you defeat him, that's the end of the game. He doesn't die or anything, you kinda reconvene with your party. Overall, I really enjoyed the story. I'm excited to give Rebirth a try and do the Yuffie DLC. I still haven't done that yet. As mentioned in the story section, gameplay is a big thing for me because if I don't like the gameplay, it's kinda hard to also enjoy the story since most of your time spent playing, you're interacting with the combat and systems. And I really enjoyed the gameplay of Final Fantasy VII Remake. I'm a fan of the action RPG combat system, so it's fun to run around as Cloud and just hit things. However, going into this, I did not know you were able to play as the other characters like Tifa and Aerith. I only thought you had party members and you can tell them what to do, but don't actually play them. Being able to play as them was really fun. Mostly stuck to Cloud, but playing as Tifa was my second favorite. I love how flashy her moves are and how fast she was. Now, I didn't mess too much with the weapon upgrade system and the materials. Usually I'm the type to beat the game first and then go back and try to complete a lot of things that I've missed, like getting secret bosses or grinding out to max level and getting the max equipment. And I want to do that in this game, I just haven't done it yet, but it does look fun. I do have to say though, there were things that I wasn't a fan of, like I enjoyed the materia, but I wish I was able to slot in more. Like I want to have my party members and access to the important skills. I remember I had to fight the Hell House in chapter 9, and that thing took me forever because I had Aerith set up with heals mostly and some magic attack, but I was mainly using Cloud, and since I didn't have the right materia that boss was weak to, I was just swinging away for 30 minutes trying to kill it. Eventually I did, but I feel like that's a weakness of this game where if you don't know what you need to bring to the fight, then you aren't going to have a good time your first time around. The other thing I wasn't a big fan of was that your party members won't auto-cast their abilities. Now I know the game has some material that will auto-cast certain abilities that you can give your party, like Cure, but the main abilities, for example, Unbridled Strength for Tifa, which would make her stronger for the fight, you would have to cast it manually for her. Which I get because you might want to save their ATB for a certain moment or use it as an important heal, but I wish we had an option to let them use their abilities freely. Luckily it wasn't that bad. The fights in this game weren't too hard, at least for the main story and side quest. I haven't done any like secret bosses besides the Behemoth for that one side quest. I'm not even sure if you would consider that a secret boss though. Speaking of side quests, the side quests in this game weren't too bad. Usually in RPGs, the side quests can be tedious with a lot of back and forth, but I managed to get by just fine. I did do every side quest when I got to them because I didn't want to miss anything while playing, including cutscenes. I know there were some cutscenes you could miss if you didn't do certain things, but I think I managed to get them. Also, if you're wondering, I got Aerith as my dream in chapter 4. I also want to mention real quick that this cutscene right here in chapter 16 was just beautiful. Like this game looks so good, and then they threw in a pre-rendered cutscene here, and I'm playing on ultra wide, and mixing those things together was just amazing. I was amazed by how good this scene looked. It honestly felt like the Flight of Passage ride at Disney. And that was my experience trying out Final Fantasy VII Remake in 2026. I still have some questions like, who is this cat thing? Why is Sephiroth bad? Why did we see Zack from Birth by Sleep?
Hey, how about one date?
But I'm sure those questions will be answered in Rebirth. Maybe, maybe not. Maybe I have to wait until Revelation or go back and play Crisis Core. Who knows? Anyways, if you stuck around to the end, thank you for watching.